going to share a little bit about my journey, where things have ended up, where things are going. It is my hope that this is an encouragement to you, especially if you are still on the road of trying to find answers for your pain. If you're someone that is being told by doctors that it's all in your head, or it's just stress, or it's just IBS, but deep down inside you know that something else is going on, then I really hope this video encourages you to keep advocating for yourself and fighting for answers, because this is what I had to do to finally get answers for my own health and ultimately to get some pain relief. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe so that you don't miss more content in the future. And if you're able to share this, that would be awesome, because one of my goals is to help bring awareness to the struggles that women are facing around the world about chronic pain, pelvic pain, endometriosis, and all these women that are being gaslit and told that their symptoms are nothing, or their symptoms aren't valid, or their symptoms don't matter. My name is Arisha, and I'm a natural nutrition clinical practitioner with a diploma in holistic nutrition. I'm also a hormone health coach. So my passion is to help women that have IBS, pelvic pain, endometriosis, any type of chronic pain. I help them with anti-inflammatory nutrition and lifestyle supports to have daily bowel movements, more energy, fewer flares, less pain, and ultimately so that they can thrive in their body and just not feel like they're always surviving symptoms. There's a lot that I could share about my health, and I will in future videos, but just for a general timeline, I have always struggled with digestive issues pretty much my whole life, from as long as I can remember. As a child, constipation, diarrhea, bloat, stomach pain, alternating between all those symptoms all the time. I just remember as a kid, it was really hard. It was really hard. And plus when you're little, and I'm talking like, 6, 7, 8 years old, it's like you don't really understand and you don't really know what to do. So I just remember being in so much pain all the time, and honestly carrying a lot of shame and embarrassment around my symptoms. Things kind of evened out a little bit, but then my health got quite drastically worse when I was 18, graduated high school, was going into university, and my symptoms just really went downhill. I lost a lot of weight. It didn't matter what I ate. It felt like my stomach would just blow up like a balloon. I was tired all the time. I struggled to sleep. I struggled to concentrate. Brain fog to the max. So any of you that are struggling with brain fog, or that afternoon crash where it's like your energy just dips down, I had this so bad when I was just entering to university, which is not great when you are in university and you have to do all this work. But yeah, I just remember anything I ate would irritate my gut. And this kind of launched me into this journey of holistic health and nutrition, because honestly, it's only been through nutrition and lifestyle supports that I was able to find symptom relief. So I did quite well for most of my 20s, but I started getting symptoms coming back more frequently and in more severity. And in many ways, when I think back about it, my symptoms were a little bit different than before. They weren't so much digestive anymore, because I really had gotten a good grip on my digestion, so to speak. Like I knew what I needed to do to, have daily bowel movements and not have diarrhea or constipation, and just to feel good digestion wise. I'd really come a long ways. So in 2021, I had my first ultrasound for pelvic pain. And since 2023, chronic 24/7 nonstop pain below my belly button. And so hard. I cannot express to you how many days I would come home from work and just cry and just sob and just be laying in my bed in this place of my body's hurting, but I don't know what to do. So I started going to the doctors again, saw many doctors, to be honest. I had colonoscopy done, endoscopy done, was told, oh, it's just IBS. I saw another doctor who said it's just stress. I saw another doctor that told me, I'm a fine, healthy young woman. There's nothing wrong with me. And all these comments, like, it definitely takes a toll on a person. And I just remember feeling so disconnected between what the doctors were telling me versus what I knew to be true on the inside of my body. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that something wasn't right, that what I was feeling wasn't normal, that the pain I was experiencing wasn't normal. And I think one thing that also really helped me know that something wasn't right is that regardless of what I ate, regardless of how clean I ate or whatever supports I put in place, nothing worked. Nothing would remove this pain. So I continued to go back to the doctors. And this is my encouragement for any of you women out there that are struggling to get answers. Please don't give up the fight, because if I had given up, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today. And I just want to encourage you to not stop advocating for yourself. So this is what I did, kept going back to the doctor, ended up asking again, like, I'm having this pelvic pain. Can I get an ultrasound? So I went and had an ultrasound done and finally had some sort of evidence that something wasn't right. So on my ultrasound, they found that one of my ovaries was immobile. So the tech that read the report put a comment in there of like, oh, could this woman have endometriosis? So this ended up getting me a referral to the gynecologist. And this is where I would say for my health journey that things finally started to fall into place and something began to be done. Now, the sad thing about our medical system, and I'm speaking as someone that lives in Canada, it's probably different in other countries, but there are long wait lists. And this is another frustrating thing for women with chronic pain is like you get into one doctor, but you have to wait so long to get in. And if it's not the right doctor, you get a referral to a different doctor and you have to wait again. And then you have to wait for tests and everything just takes a really long time. Thankfully for me, I was able to get in quicker than I anticipated. I think it was maybe a 4 or 6 month wait or something like that. I would have to double check my records. But I eventually got in, asked a lot of questions. I shared everything on my journey. And finally, I had a doctor that seemed to believe me about my chronic pain. So all of this led to a point of we need to do surgery to see if there is endometriosis or if it's something else entirely or if everything inside my body looks normal. So I was put on the surgery list, conservative laparoscopic surgery for the excision of endometriosis. I was put on the surgery list October 31st. And then I got a call on December 10th, 2025, asking if I could come in for surgery the next day on December 11th. This was a cancellation. I, of course, said yes because I knew that if I waited and had said no, I probably would still be rating as I'm recording this video right now. So I said yes. I remember when I was on the phone and was told like, hey, you could actually go for surgery tomorrow. I was literally shaking. And it was so hard to even hang on to my cell phone because I was just shaking so bad. But I decided with my doctor that surgery was the best option for me. And I remember that night before surgery, there were a lot of things going through my mind. In some ways, I'm glad that I didn't have a lot of time between knowing when my surgery date was and the time like leading up to it. I didn't have much time whatsoever. And I think it's good so that I didn't get stuck in my head and start to imagine things or go through what if scenarios. But I just remember having such a peace inside of my heart. And I get a little bit emotional talking about this because if you're someone that has gone through chronic pain for years and you've been dismissed for years, it can be really hard to trust your gut or trust your intuition because even myself, I was starting to wonder if maybe everything was entirely in my head. And I was just like somehow in some weird way making all of this up and it was manifesting in my body. It's just really hard to navigate those emotions and to not trust yourself and just that disconnect between what others have said to you and what you're feeling. And going into a surgery knowing that there's the possibility of waking up and being told that there's nothing wrong with you, everything looks great, was really hard for me to process and work through. But I had settled inside of my heart that even if I woke up on the next day being told that everything looked normal, that I would be proud of myself for taking this step to advocate for my health and fight for myself. So that's kind of where I was the night before surgery, but I did have peace inside because I felt deep down inside that this was the right thing for me to do. For anyone going for surgery, I will do another video about all the details of the surgery, but essentially the next morning I went for surgery, didn't know, again, what was going to be found, but I was as ready as I could be for this, and this was the most help I had ever gotten for my health. So I went for surgery, and when I woke up, the first thing that I asked was, did they find anything? And this also makes me very emotional because I think it's so sad that the first thing I had to ask when I woke up was, did they find anything? And in my case, they found a lot. My mom came to the hospital with me, and she was the one that told me when I asked this question. She's like, yes, they found lots. And because of the anesthesia still wearing off, I was not able to stay awake and ask more details. But I just remember like peace like a blanket just kind of pouring over me. And I closed my eyes and slept for I don't know how long, how many hours. But when I woke up, I was able to find out more details and literally found out that all my pelvic organs were stuck together with adhesions. Not one of them wasn't stuck to another organ. And my bowel was attached to my pelvic sidewall, which was attached, like everything was attached. A few things were out of place because of the adhesions. And in that moment, I had shock because things were worse than I anticipated. I don't know that the doctors were really expecting such severe adhesions. In the doctor's report that I read a little bit later, the wording that they used was severe adhesive disease. So it's been honestly very validating for me to know that my symptoms weren't all in my head. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions since then. I alternate between anger that it took so long, anger that I wasn't believed, just to sadness for myself, and having had to walk through this for so many years. And, you know, I'm still recovering as I film this video. Hasn't quite been 2 months yet post-surgery. But it's been a hard journey. And one of the reasons I wanted to film this video is to really encourage those of you that know that something's wrong in your body and don't stop fighting for answers. Even if you're not believed, even if you're told it's all in your head, you know your body best. And it saddens me that so many women around the world are dismissed and told that their pain isn't valid. And while I don't have pathology results back yet from my surgery to exactly know, what caused these adhesions, there's the possibility that I'll never know what caused these adhesions. But in this journey, I've learned a lot about endometriosis. I've learned so much about pelvic pain. It is now the focus of my business and my one-on-one coaching that I do. And so many women with pelvic pain and endometriosis are dismissed. And it takes years for them to get a diagnosis. It takes years for them to get relief. And we shouldn't, as women, have to fight so hard to get answers and shouldn't have to fight to be believed. We shouldn't have to convince doctors that there's something wrong with us. So it's just my hope in sharing this video to encourage you to not stop the fight. I also just wanted to say as well that I do forgive all those doctors for all the things that were said to me, all the things that were insinuated or blatantly said to my face about my pain not being real. I do forgive those doctors, and I understand that we're all human and we all make mistakes. But one thing I do want to see change in the area of women's health is that there needs to be accountability, there needs to be compassion, and there just needs to be an awareness brought to the fact that women with pelvic pain need to be believed. When we come back to a doctor repeatedly over and over and over again, when we know deep down inside that something is off in our body, we need to be believed and it needs to be investigated. So for all the women out there with endometriosis, IBS, pelvic pain, or undiagnosed chronic pain of any sort, I just want you to know that you're not alone, that you are seen, you are heard, your pain is real, and please keep advocating for yourself. And yeah, this is just a little bit about my journey. I will be sharing more videos about this. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, please do so. I've got the link below. If you could subscribe and like this video, that would be greatly appreciated. And please feel free to share so that we can get awareness going about women's health, endometriosis, pelvic pain, all these different things for women need to be spoken about. And if you want to get in touch with me, I've got information below. And if you want to learn more about one-on-one coaching and how I help women that have gone through similar situations as myself, women with chronic pain, pelvic pain, endometriosis, IBS, check out the information below on how to go about doing that. And I am looking forward to connecting with you. And thanks so much for watching.